Good morning and welcome. Welcome to the City of Casey Special Council meeting for the 24th of June 2024. My name's Nolene Duff and I'm the Chair of the Panel of Administrators, and I welcome you to this council meeting. I'd like to start with introductions. Firstly, the Panel of Administrators, Mr Cameron Boardman.
Good morning, Chair.
Mr Miguel Belmar.
Me too.
Mr Glenn Patterson, our Chief Executive Officer. And we have a number of senior staff with us here this morning. Jen Bednar, Director Customer and Corporate Services, James Collins, Director City Planning and Infrastructure, and Bronwyn Saffron, the Acting Director of Community Life. And we're supported by a number of other staff here this morning in AV, Jason Lord and Nicole Rode from Governance. Welcome. I'd like to open the meeting with the statement of acknowledgement. The City of Casey proudly acknowledges the traditional owners, Casey's Aboriginal communities and their rich culture, and pays our respects to their elders past, present and future. We acknowledge Aboriginal people as Australia's first peoples and as the traditional owners and custodians of the land on which we work and live. The diversity statement. The City of Casey is home to remarkable diversity with many cultures, languages, faiths and communities of worship, ages, LGBTQI+ identities and landscapes, together forming our rich and dynamic community story. From our first Australians to our most recent arrivals and every wave between, the City of Casey welcomes and represents all community members and their respective ambitions to live healthy, rewarding and happy lives. We recognise this diversity as our strength and we aim to share, nurture and celebrate it. Move to item 2, the confirmation of minutes. There's one set of previous minutes to be confirmed, and that's for the council meeting that was held on the 18th of June. Is there a mover and a seconder?
Yes, I'll move those.
Thank you, Mr Belmar.
Seconded, Chair.
Thank you, Mr Boardman. All in favour? Carried. Item 3, declaration of interests. I have considered my obligations under Section 130 of the Local Government Act 2020 and have no conflict of interest relevant to today's agenda papers to declare. Do any of my colleague panel members or officers have a conflict to declare?
I have nothing to declare, Chair.
Thank you, Mr Boardman.
Nothing to declare, Chair.
Thank you, Mr Belmar. There are no conflicts noted. Item 4 is public question time, and there are none for this morning's special council meeting. Item 5 is officer reports, and there is only one report for consideration this morning, and that's item 5.1, the adoption of the corporate suite of documents, which is the adoption of the Council Plan 21-25, Year 4 Review, Annual Action Plan 24-25, Budget Report 24-25, Capital Works Program 24-25 and the Financial Plan 24-25 through to 2023-33-34. Do I have a mover for the recommendation?
Yes, I will move it.
Thank you, Mr Belmar. And a seconder?
Second, Chair.
Mr Boardman. Mr Belmar.
Thank you, Chair. On the screen appears the 7 motions that I'm moving, which in their totality are the Council Plan 2021, the 4-year review and the budget 2024-25, which sets out Council's priorities for the year ahead. These documents have been on public exhibition and today we adopt them as our budget and as our plan going forward. I note that the total of the budget is an amount in excess of just over $560 million. Which includes a $460 million operational budget and further to that a $100 million capital works program. And I note that with respect to the capital works program, if I can refer to some specific amounts in that, an amount of $11 million is going towards road resurfacing and rehabilitation. I note also that the capital delivery and maintenance teams have identified areas where asset renewal is most required, and that's resulted in an increase in projects from 37 in the last year to 72 in the budget that we are adopting today. I note as well, as set out in the council papers, that council is working in tight budgetary parameters due to economic pressures facing not just this organisation, but we note the community. And I note that in adopting today's budget, the budget reflects a 2.75% increase in the annual average general rates in 2024-25 in accordance with the rate cap announced by the Minister for Local Government on the 22nd of December 2023. I note also that in the coming year 2024-25, the City of Casey's waste charge will increase by 3.29% for households across the municipality who have 120 litre garbage bins with recycling, food and organic bins. There's also been an increase in the fire services property levy. The increase, which is set by state government, was announced as part of the 2024-25 state budget, which was handed down on the 7th of May of 2024. These charges are going to vary from property to property and will be reflected on rates notices, as we as a council are responsible for the collecting and remitting of those funds back to the state government to assist in funding fire emergency services. I note also that the draft version of the budget, which was released, has also had some amendments. I also want to note that with respect to the tough times facing the construction industry and projects that this council has in train, there's been changes made to the capital works program. A number of projects, approximately 6, have been rephased, meaning the timing for delivery has moved. And design for some projects will commence this year with delivery scheduled for the future. 3 new projects have been included as priority, and they are a dog-friendly space at Sweeney Reserve, the upgrade of the Edwin Flack Reserve Athletic Pavilion, and the relocation of the Casey North Community Information and Support Service to the Casey Youth Hub in Webb Street, Narre Warren. Finally, I just want to note some other projects which have been delivered and will continue to be delivered over the next 12 months. And in particular, I want to just mention the leadership program, which has been run in the past and will continue this year, which is an opportunity for members of the community to be involved in an excellent leadership program. And I note as well that program alumni are now involved, and it's an excellent program that's given a great opportunity for members of the community to learn about what council does and also to see what opportunities there are for them to continue to be involved with council and its work. Finally, I also want to mention some community-focused projects to be delivered over the next 12 months, which show the excellent work that council is doing in leading and responding to needs that we see. Firstly, the Multicultural Water Safety Program, which a program set up for the next 12 months, which is in response to recent tragedies that have occurred in Victoria, which we have been aware have affected Casey residents. And the program is being created to provide Casey's multicultural community access to safe water education and to connect them with our local community facilities and neighbouring beach locations. The Sport for All program is a program that will educate and guide local sports clubs to be inclusive and welcoming to those that identify as having a disability. The Maternal and Child Health Nurse Scholarship Program will support nurses to undertake MCH nurse training and then work with council's maternal and child health service to address workforce challenges. And the last program I'd like to mention in moving the motion is hosting a youth summit, and the summit will aim to engage with young people and secondary schools to explore current local issues and local peer connections. And in moving this budget today, I know that it's the last opportunity that I'll have as an administrator to be involved in moving a budget. It's been a great opportunity to be involved and to assist the community in the previous budgets that we have set, and today, again, it's been a fantastic opportunity for council to again set its goals over the next 12 months, and I want to thank those officers that have worked diligently in preparing the documents. A lot of work goes into preparing an annual budget, and I note that the next budget cycle is probably beginning again in the next few weeks. So with those comments, I'm happy to move this motion.
Thank you, Mr Belmar. Mr Boardman.
Chair, if I could begin my remarks as Mr Belmar has ended on the basis that this is the final full-year budget that ourselves as the panel administrators will be involved in preparing and adopting. And to note that at last week's council meeting I did foreshadow the requirement that we would be having a special council meeting this morning to adopt the financial documents as listed and the council plan and the update to the council plan. It is an indication of the comprehensiveness of this process, not just from council officers and all of those involved in the preparation of what is an extensive suite of documents overall, but also ourselves to ensure that we are abiding by our statutory requirements, ensuring that we are approaching this task under the auspice of best practice financial management and good governance, and ensuring most particularly that we have all of the available information and required detail in order for us to be informed of the current state of the council's finances, the allocation of the budget against the capital and the non-capital program into the future, and then looking from the 10-year horizon as a statutory responsibility to ensure that the council and its operations remain sustainable over that horizon. And the reason why we have, Chair, gone down the pathway of having a special council meeting this morning is for that very reason, is that it has been a comprehensive exercise where we have, I trust, been vigilant and diligent and ensuring that we are receiving information as pertinent as required to this task that has now resulted in us adopting the recommendation as put. And of course we do have that obligation under Section 90 of the Local Government Act to adopt the council plan. So we've got to talk about the strategic direction of the council, the objectives for achieving that direction, the strategies for achieving the objectives over the next 4 years, which is incorporated in the documents, and the indicators for monitoring the achievements, which is pretty critical. That's the council plan. And so how do we report against what we've achieved, and how do we assess success or otherwise? We've spoken many times about the council plan, the updates, the quarterly reports is a very useful piece of information that we provide to the community on those assessment metrics and our progress against those assessment metrics. But what we are doing this morning is bringing the whole picture together, particularly from a finance basis, on how all of these aspects are funded. And Mr Belmar has articulated the specific highlights and aspects of the financial documents in particular, which I'm not going to repeat. Safe to say, Chair, that whilst this is a financial plan for the next 12 months, we are very conscious of not just the challenges over the next 12 months, but well into the future. And in that light, I do note that less than a week and a half ago, all Victorian municipalities received their statewide housing targets as part of the Victorian Government's housing plan. It was of no surprise what the expectation from a Casey's perspective was, and it does align with a significant amount of internal modelling that has been conducted internally. But what it does suggest wholeheartedly to the community, and in particular to a future council, is that there is going to be significant changes to the way capital is allocated to meet the infrastructure requirements of the community. It's certainly going to change the rate base because of the increased volume of properties that will have to be built to accommodate the growing population in this part of the world. And that in itself is going to lead to a different way of decision-making in the future, particularly over a longer period of time. And that takes in consideration all the requirements from a health, from a community, from a recreation, from an infrastructure, from a planning perspective, that undoubtedly is going to be something that future councils need to really understand comprehensively. Chair, I have spoken about the expectations and the behaviours of future councillors who will occupy these seats post the October election, and I don't in any way back away from those comments. This is the single most important aspect of business from a whole of council perspective, but one that, as Mr Belmar has articulated, needs to take into deep consideration the changing environment, the challenges associated with those changes, and ensure that there is transparency across the decision making and that councils themselves are setting an agenda that is implementable, that is also looking at how success can be measured and declared and disclosed to the community through those statutory reports that I've already mentioned. So my closing remark, Chair, is that whilst this is a process through statutory necessity that we ourselves as administrators provide a specific and heightened level of attention and diligence, quite appropriate in the circumstances, I in no way think that that should not be replicated post-October when we have elected councillors. This is a part of confidence, of certainty, of ensuring continuity in the operations across every aspect of the business of the organisation, and it is critical that that level of decision-making is as robust as adherence to those principles that I started with of good governance, of best practice financial management, but most importantly, in the interests of the community overall. And hence, the highlights in the budget, the financial plan, the council plan, the annual action plan, and including the schedule of fees and charges, which Mr Belmar has alluded to, are absolutely appropriate and pertinent to the organisation over the horizon of which these documents encapsulate. But it is critical to take in consideration what those future challenges are, not just financial challenges, not just supply challenges, but certainly those population challenges which are going to affect Casey arguably disproportionately compared with other councils, and it is going to result in a different way of decision making and financial management into the future. With those comments, I'm pleased to second the recommendations as put.
Thank you, Mr Boardman, and thank you both for your comments with respect to this set of documents. I think it is important to note from a community perspective that this is a very large and complex organisation and business. As Mr Belmar indicated, nearly $600 million a year budget and assets on the balance sheet of $9 billion. So it is an extensive and detailed process to work through this, not just this budget process, but the actualisation of the budget in terms of the program and capital delivery each year. It is quite complex, and in the context of the changing nature of Casey, particularly the population growth and the changes within that population growth, incumbent on the council to be and the organisation to be ahead of the game in terms of an appreciation and understanding of what the future planning spectrum needs to be from a service delivery point of view, from a capital point of view, and from a future picture. So this set of documents canvasses all of those things with community input, the council plan, the action plan, and the budget document, and the financial plan, which is a high-level planning and general direction document, which is subject to annual review, but which provides a forward look as to what those commitments are likely to be. I want to say thank you to both of you for your diligence in working through these documents, and to the organisation for the work that it's taken to bring what is in excess of 300 pages with a huge amount of detail in it for the council to consider today. And with that, I will put the motion to the vote. All in favour? Carried unanimously. That's the single report that we have for consideration this morning, so it leaves me to formally close the council meeting and thank everyone who's here this morning for their attendance. Good morning.